Let's turn our focus to that big event that will come within 24 hours from now, the Reserve Bank Credit Policy. Let's quickly take you through what our poll threw up, and then we will have two experts joining us. Our poll indicated that only 10% of those whom we asked expect a rate action tomorrow. 50% of those whom we polled expect a rate action post the budget, that is in the first week of March. Another 40% said April, when the next policy is anyway scheduled, will be the time that the governor will act next. Those who expected, the 10% who said yes, there will be rate action, obviously expected that it will be a 25 basis rate cut that the governor might announce. As well, we asked them how much of a rate cut you expect in all of 2015. Only 10% said that there is just one more cut, 25 basis. A good 55% expect 75 basis point more of cuts. So 3 more cuts are expected. So it would be March, April and June or something like that. But 3 more cuts is what the majority of the market expects. We also asked them about their forecasts for inflation, which the Reserve Bank will put out. And a majority, that is 45% said that Reserve Bank will lower it from the 6% in March that they had earlier forecast. They will bring it down to between 5.5% and 6%. That was the expectation. Of course, 35% said that it will be left unchanged. As for forecast for FY16, the Reserve Bank already said in the Jan 15th policy statement that it will be below 6%. So 65% expect the Reserve Bank to lower the FY16 forecast to somewhere between 5.6 and 6%. Well, we did do some GDP forecasts, but I won't go through them because now all that will be a little bit of, speculation. Since new GDP numbers are out, we will have to see what the Reserve Bank says. Maybe it will make no statement at all about growth. Let's get our experts in to check out what they are expecting tomorrow and how the markets might react. Deven Choksey and Jayesh Mehta join us. Jayesh, if I remember right, you were one of the persons, maybe you are in that 10% who told us that you are expecting a rate cut tomorrow.
Yeah, I think you see, we are looking at no cut tomorrow, but okay. 10% is because of what has changed in last 24 hours, mainly Coal India. So that itself, if you look at the 15th January policy statement, it did say that it will look at the other macro factor, including supply side and the fiscal numbers. So that's why that 10% probability would put it to tomorrow on 25 basis point cut tomorrow.
Okay.
Lata, Sorry, just to digress and address the news, AB Nuvo, that's Aditya Birla Nuvo, has also submitted an application to the RBI for obtaining a lease for setting up a payments bank, and they will be partnering with Idea Cellular. So both of them are of the same parent company, where ABNL will be, as Aditya Birla Nuvo, will be the largest promoter shareholder, while Idea will be holding the balance, though Idea has the right to raise the equity participation from 49 to 60% eventually. So there is a provision for that. But AB Nuvo has reacted positively to this development.
Yes, I can imagine that. But I would be a little wary about this piece of news, because there is this big fit and proper issue that the Reserve Bank is rightly preoccupied with. And with a CBI investigation in one of the group companies, which is still underway, it is a little difficult for the Reserve Bank to explain giving license to such a group. I mean, people may argue up till kingdom come that, there are two sides to this investigation. But nevertheless, for the regulator, they will have to respect another regulator's word. And I'm not very sure whether people should get so excited. Every application is not going to result in the issue of a license, but we'll come to that in a bit. Jayesh, how is the market placed? Today it's 7.67, and I assume the yields have fallen largely because globally yields have crashed or yields have slumped. Do you think the market is not priced in a rate cut, and if it came, we're going to see some 7.5 immediately?
Yeah, market's not at all pricing a rate cut at this juncture, and if we see a rate cut tomorrow, the first stop will be 7.55, and then gradually it will sink in below 7.5. But at this juncture, the market definitely has not priced in any rate cut.
Okay. Deven, what is the stock market going with?
Look, I think the market is stock market is either expecting, I think, that the rate cut to happen so soon in 15 days time of the last cut announced. So for sure, I think at this point of time, I think they would like to wait till the budget as to how the government is moving ahead with the divestment program. Because the total amount of expected divestment, I think, which was talked at the time of last budget, vis-a-vis what they have collected so far, the very impressive number over the last weekend from Coal India sell-off, I think. But the fact is that I think the gap is still huge. So unless on the other side the expenditure cut is brought, I think the fiscal deficit math will not get perfected. So market is not expecting a cut at this point of time in the rate, at least in tomorrow's policy.
Okay, Jayesh, what is the expected tone of the RBI governor tomorrow, and can that in any way move the markets?
I think we expect him to be a little bit more dovish than the 15th January statement, where, of course, one of the things it has said about it will continue to watch inflation, and I think he will be more dovish on the inflation stance and as the polls predicted, like RBI may also change their inflation forecast for the rest of the period. So I think barring unforeseen thing, only if the inflation spikes, something of that sort, rather than watching inflation very carefully kind of stance. So from that, of course, we expect the stance to be quite dovish. So market at this juncture haven't priced anything. Maybe you might see a couple of basis points sell-off if there is no rate action. But overall stance looks definitely dovish. We may also see some SLR reduction if it happens, because at the as we move towards LCR next year, on phase basis, we might have to see some SLR reduction, but that would be initially people will react, but that effectively would be a non-event as in a medium term.
Deven, what are your comments? Here's one sterling performer.
Yes, Mehta, I think the numbers are quite impressive. Once I think we see the details, probably can validate. But my assumption is that it is largely due to, I think, some of the machined items, I think, which they have probably executed in this quarter. And that could be possibly coming from the capital goods segment, I think, vis-a-vis the auto segment. So that's where I think the profitability has jumped up. But I think subject to details available, I think will be validated on this particular assumption. Yeah, exactly. Also, some part of the contribution has come, I think, largely from the overseas business. I think that also needs to be validated.
Okay. Domestic business has gone up by 23.5%, while exports have gone up by 53%.
Oh, there you are.
Similar to last quarter when exports had risen by 50%, that run continues.
It's already a stock that has jumped 220% year on year. We must pull up the year on year chart of Bharat Forge. Still good to go, Deven?
Yes, I think it's a long-term investment story. Of course, I think in immediate terms, I think it is priced in. But if you are holding it for 3 years and above, I think it is a good story. Largely because I think non-auto business segment contribution should drive the profit and the profitability growth eventually in this for this company.
And while on this issue, what would your call be on TVS with its sales rising just 1%? Expectations were running sky high.
I'm slightly not, I think, convinced with the TVS in the two-wheeler space. So I think not putting any buy recommendation anyway. Okay. I would think that I think would be looking at the development overall and then take a call. But as of now, I think no recommendations on TVS.
All right. Jayesh, Deven, we'll have to leave it at that. Extremely sorry we are out of time on the show. Thank you very much for joining us.